Hey B, you are gonna think I am lying, but I am from the year 2042. I am not gonna try to prove anything at all. Believing me in what I am about to tell you is up to you. I am not a time traveler. It is really complicated. Please do not ask. I am just here because I miss the 2000s. You cannot believe how fucked up things are in the future and just how fucked up they can get. I just want you to know that it doesn't matter how bad things are right now, it gets a lot worse. Enjoy the time you spend with your friends and family while you still can, before a virus kills them. Enjoy your online freedom and privacy before they take them all away by force. Enjoy the peace before the entire world starts to rip each other apart. Only if you knew just how bad things can get. For the next 10 years, even more, you are gonna fight over stupid things. Politics are going to get really ugly. Everyone is going to start to hate each other. But trust me, you are gonna remember those days as good memories. You are gonna hate the black man, orange man, and the senile old man. You are gonna turn everything into a political dick measuring contest. After everything gets too serious, you are gonna realize just how dumb everyone was and just how dumb you were too. You will realize that all of your problems were nothing. Everything is gonna go down so quickly, disaster after disaster. I lived long enough to see horrible things. After World War III started, nobody was ready. We were all soft. We got caught, underprepared. The entire world was boiling before that. Wars, economic crises, natural disasters, pandemics. But not many could see things escalating this bad. One day, you were just minding your own business, going about your usual day, maybe going to work, probably concerned about the gas prices or some stupid shit like that. The other day, you were watching people die from radiation sickness. I still remember the first day of the war. Woke up in the morning, clueless about what is going on in the world. Turned my computer on and saw the internet going crazy over this Russian nuke. Everyone on the internet was talking about this. All of the media was talking about this. All of the TV channels were showing this footage of this 50 megaton nuclear explosion. It was all you could see everywhere you went. There was no escaping it. Anywhere you go on the internet, you could see nothing but the horrifying footage of that nuke. The first nuke was nothing but a show. It did not kill anyone. But a retaliation was necessary nonetheless. It triggered the war, as anyone could guess. I am not going to talk too much. Believe me or not, I am not actually trying to get attention. I don't want to change anything in the past, or this alternate timeline at least. I am not certain about the consequences of what I say and my presence here. This is why I won't give you much information about the future. Please don't ask me anything about the future. I already gave too much information, and I am already concerned about the butterfly effect I can create with this message. I will leave shortly after finishing this. One last thing before I leave. After the year 2020, you better start preparing yourself. Not long after that, you will start to see some conflict that will eventually turn into the biggest war in human history. This is the only favor I can give. I hope this message won't create a mess in the future. In your future at least, because our timeline is already fucked. This message was posted by Nanon on 4chan on the 21st of December in the year 2006 on 4chan's beatboard, a whole 19 years in the past. I once stayed in a relatively remote cabin with my parents on a Georgia mountain. My parents said They were going to check out a hang gliding spot at the top of the mountain, but I was playing outside and did not want to go. 5 minutes after they left, I decided I did want to go with them. Being a dumb shit preteen from Florida, I figured I could just walk up the mountain on a random trail behind the cabins and find them. The trail began wide enough, almost a first road cleared and packed turf for easy walking. The path snaked along through the hardwoods, winding upwards, but it had no turns, so I was not scared of getting lost. Further down the way, the path began to grow narrow. Trees and bushes gathered inward, and the grated and packed turf transitioned into rock and clay. It was little more than a footpath now, heavily wooded on either side. I passed an abandoned wooden barn or shed, entire structure leaning, brown with age, and partially destroyed. I was curious, but decided not to look around it further, so I continued on. Abruptly, the small footpath opened to a red clay clearing like a gash in the forest floor, and I am very confused to find an absolutely pristine condition classic car parked dead center. I don't even give two shits about cars, but this thing was pure perfection. 1960s Dodge Dart, paint job blue as the sky, clean enough to reflect the clouds, bumper and rims gleaming spotless, cream canvas top, and inside, I see a black vinyl bench seat and a man in the driver's seat. The area is a small, friendly, southern hospitality type town, so I am not scared, more in awe of how amazing this car is. I look at the man and smile, realizing I have probably wandered into someone's property. The man is dressed kind of funny, a dated black suit and fedora hat with dark sunglasses. Again though, it's kind of a pedunk place where people are behind on fashion, so I pay this no mind. I smile and wave, and he smiles and waves back. I approach the car. I approach the man to engage in some casual, "Sorry, I'm lost, nice car," but as I step towards the car, I hear something large rush through the leaves in the woods behind me. I turn and see absolutely nothing. I scan the woods and see nothing. Shrugging it off, I turn back to the car and the man, but it's not the same. The car is beyond disrepair, absolutely rotted away by the elements. Not a speck of paint remains on it. The entire thing is completely brown and rusted down to the bumpers and rims that 2 seconds ago reflected the entire forest. Canvas top mildewed and torn open. Bench seat rotted to shreds, exposing rusted springs and dirty foam. I look around and see there is no road to the clearing. No possible way the car could have got here. The man is nowhere to be seen. Needless to say, I'm pretty spooked. The forest is eerily quiet, suddenly devoid of bird and cicada song. I am truly alone. I decide I've been walking long enough to be closer to the mountaintop where my parents are than the cabin, so I continue forward, now at a hurried walk. As I continue, I pass strange, rusted machinery equipment, something that looks like a giant metal funnel, oil drums, and other metal scraps. The only sound I heard beside my own footsteps was the buzzing of flies. 1 or 2 at first. I pick up my pace, desperate to find my way to my parents. As I continue deeper, the buzzing is louder, louder than my footsteps. All I can hear, but I see no flies. I stop in my tracks as I smell something very dead. The smell of rotting flesh is overpowering. I gag and try not to vomit, still bombarded by the droning buzz of flies. I felt dizzy suddenly. I look around and see no animal corpse or flies anywhere. Fear hits me like never before, and I run back the way I came at full speed, never stopping till I reach the cabin. When my parents and brother arrive, it's dark out. I tell them what happened, and they all brush it off. I tell them I will take them there tomorrow. The next day, I take them on the same path. There is only one path with no turns. It's wide and leveled and makes a circle. We circle 3 times before everyone writes me off as being imaginative. The path never narrows. We never find the old shed or clearing. I continue circling after everyone has given up. I never find the clearing again. Can't explain it. Don't know what happened, but I can promise you it was real. Visit area my mother's family are from. Her brother and his family still live there. I'm about 17 at the time. Go wandering about outside. Isn't that hot, but then it feels like I'm on the surface of the sun. Everything looks and feels sort of like 2D. Think I have heat stroke. See small pub. Go there for drink, not alcohol. Pretty much empty and dated as fuck. See two guys at table talking. They look very familiar. Keep looking at them. They notice. Eventually, one comes over, menacingly, and asks why I keep looking. Suddenly know who they are. They are my two uncles. It's me, Anon. Who? Your sister's son, Anon. Start reeing at me that sister is only 12. Very definitely not my uncle's. Haha, just memeing bros, I'm a doctor. Boyish good looks give this ruse away. Blood could be spilled. Run out the doors and back to uncle's house. Still hot as fuck. When I get back to his place, it doesn't seem so hot anymore. Have a peculiar first name. So much that no one calls me by it, except for myself and my mother, and everyone else uses a shortened version, like Jonathan and John for example, except more rare. Haven't seen uncle since I was a young ankle biter. We sit out back and start talking. Accidentally calls me by my full first name. Literally grimaces at it. Asks what's up with it. Tells me that back in the 70s, him and his brother were in the pub when someone called that started trying to dab on them. When they chased him out of the pub, he totally disappeared. My mother overheard him telling this to his parents that same night. My mother loved the name. To him it was cursed. Don't know if I've always been cursed, or if I somehow named myself. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you do and you want to hear more, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below, as it lets the algorithm know that you like my content and it promotes it to more people. My goal for the channel is to hit 50,000 subscribers, and we're closing in fast, so thank you, and back to the stories. I spent a good many years as a paramilitary contractor in post-USSR. Name a conflict in the 80s/90s, and I was likely involved. My PTSD is severe, although enough time has passed that I can navigate my way through life, but some of the things I witnessed are burned into my brain. I'd like to share a story with you. Be me, 29 years old, attached to force reconnaissance battalions for a long time. This experience landed me near Dagestan. Spent a few weeks subsiding on cheap coffee, leeks, cheese, and almost no sleep. I was shown around an encampment near the Terek that changed my life forever. The tour started leading through a series of tents. Handed a gas mask. Inside were young men and children strapped to stakes in the ground up to the rise in the tents. 3 or 4 to a stake, of which there was maybe 8 stakes in total. Above their heads were these canisters that looked like lanterns. Lanterns were leaking some sort of chemical miasma that poured down over their faces. They appeared to be suffocating. Outside around back of the site was a middle-aged man tied to a post who was barely alive. His eyes jutted back and forth to each of his captors, pleading with his eyes. The man I was with, who showed me the children, stopped at the post and introduced me to another man and his friend. I hesitatingly shook his hand before the other man whipped out something like a hedge trimmer and began carving the man on the post like a turkey. The man did not scream, and he also did not bleed. Parts of his body came off clean, white and yellow like crumbly cheese. I saw many other things. I have nightmares that won't go away. I have been to therapy, but I'm looking for help elsewhere. I feel like this is more than PTSD. It's like a curse. I need to be cleansed if possible. How can I do this? I've had some interesting experiences while walking. This last one wasn't that weird, but since it happened recently, I'm going to share it. So, long story short, I got stranded a few nights ago. I was super tired, and it was about 7 miles to get home. This was 11 o'clock at night, and I realized I would have to walk. I was livid. Anyway, I cut through this part of town that I never go through. Wound up walking down this very long, very straight stretch of road that runs between a big field on one side and a ranch on the other. Even though this place is not incredibly rural, the walk began to feel very lonely. No cars were traveling down this road, and it was me all by myself and tired as fuck. I thought, damn, if somebody wanted to kill me right now, they probably could. This made the walk feel extra eerie, which I thought was cool. I did not actually think I was in any real danger, so I stopped to take some pics. From pic related, you can see that there are several houses in the distance, so again, this is not a deserted area. The farther you walk down this road, the more isolated it gets before it finally hits a major highway. From there, you just hook a right and you hit a residential area, which you can see in the first pic. Anyway, I hit the most isolated part of the road and saw this old, kind of rundown fence. It looked very sad to me, so I stopped to take a picture of it. As I was about to do that, I heard a sound and realized that someone was walking around on the other side. They were being loud, so I could tell that they were heading towards the gate. I assumed it was just the rancher, but I knew he would find it odd that some weirdo on foot was out here taking pictures of his fence, lol, so I kept moving, with my eyes watching the gate. Eventually, it opened. Keep in mind, this is a rundown fence. It's leaning, so the door dragged noticeably through the grass as it opened. Nobody. Not a fucking soul. The gate opened by itself. I heard no further movement after that. Not gonna lie, friends, I got spooked and almost took off running, but since it was a pretty windy night, I told myself that the wind caught the gate just right and forced it open. Then, being a good little X-file, I snapped a picture. Look at that fence door in the picture. Imagine that shit opening on its own. It didn't fall. It wasn't a quick movement. It slowly dragged itself open. Just the wind, right? Be in woods tonight. Dog is with me. He begins to growl. I hear the crunching too. Command him to shut the fuck up. Like a loyal puppy is. Shut off light. Move a few meters back quietly as possible with my dog. He's a great dog and all, but I don't know how to teach a dog heel to toe movement, kek. Take an observation post after hitting the prone. See outline of a person. Must not have heard or seen us. Still feel my dog is very tense, which is unlike him. See outline move again. It's staying in the same spot, but the motion it's making is almost similar to someone digging with a shovel. They are also huffing and puffing, like they just put in a lot of physical effort before arriving. Still not completely sure what they were doing at this point. Not a lot of loom out, and a bunch of branches are in my way. Oh, Jesus fuck. What if they're really doing what I think they are? Hear more grunting and ground being hit. Quietly move out of the area. This person must be too distracted, cause my dog is fairly loud. Get on the road. Get in my truck. Call cops. Explain what I saw as I continue driving. Find vehicle parked on the side of the road. Tell them where it's at. Make and license plate. Get paranoid and go full blackout. Move truck up road and off the road a wee bit so that if they drive by, they don't see me sitting in it. Continue talking to operator. They ask me to stay on the line until police arrive. Say yeah. She asks if I see the cops yet. No, I'm more north. Have no weapon tonight, and I'm not getting my dog murdered by a creep. See cop lights and back. Fuck, they went too far north. Flash my lights for officer. Walk out, hands up, saying I'm the one who called. Talk to him. I guess 3 more are further south, taking a peek-see. They got the guy while I talked to the officer. All he told me was that I was right about a shovel. He told me to go home and gave me a card. Told me he'd probably need to talk to me later. Gave him my number as well. Phew. Spookiest time I've had in years. Be me, 19 years old, working at Wingstop. Dude comes in one day. Real skinny, not much older than me. I'm not good at guessing ages and looks a little fucking crazy in the eyes, kinda like a tweaker. I will never forget his fucking order. Dude asks for a huge order of lemon pepper wings, medium rare. Sir, they are chicken wings, not steak. We have to cook them all the way through. He gets instantly annoyed. Says he is going to finish cooking them at home in his fryer and demands we sell him the wings how he wants them. I call the manager. He refuses at first, but Guy keeps insisting. At one point, he even asks if we will sell him the wings raw. My manager finally gets up and just opts to give him medium rare wings like the dude originally asked, thinking he will finish cooking them at home. I hand the dude the bag of wings and watch him walk out to his car. I see him sitting in the driver's seat, devouring his medium rare wings, right there in the parking lot. Fucking what the fuck? Tell my manager, and we watch as this dude eats the undercooked wings in disbelief. Manager says not to sell to that guy again. Fast forward, same dude comes in the following week. Ask for the same shit, and I tell him to get lost. He gets pissed but leaves, taking trash out later. Catch the guy in the dumpster eating old rotten wings. Chase him off and never see him again. Weirdly specific request, but does anyone have anything on vampires or vampire-like creatures? So, this is not probably what you're looking for, but I will tell you a story my dad has about his very shitty, very rural hometown. One of those places where everyone is poor and has no education and drinks too much. In this town, there was apparently some older guy named Sai, who everyone believed was a vampire. Not at first, and they didn't use that word, but basically, that's what they came to believe. This dude Sai kept to himself, and nobody could ever figure out where he lived, and some of the older folks said Sai had been there since they were kids, the same age and everything. Obviously, that was just old-timers telling stories, but Sai became a sort of a local boogeyman that parents would warn kids about to get them to act right. So, anyway, I guess someone found some graves disturbed one time or something, and then someone else said they had seen Sai hanging around those graves, and that turned into a story that Sai was digging up people's body parts and eating them. A whole fucking legend sprung up around it, and that made all the kids even more wary of Sai. But then shit got weird. At one point, people found a man's body out in the woods, and it looked all blue, like he'd been drowned, only he was on dry land, not anywhere near any bodies of water. People started saying that someone had drank the man's blood. Remember, these are really uneducated people. For the kids, the natural suspect was Sai. Then, not long after, a couple more bodies turned up in exactly the same condition, including a kid. This freaked everyone out, and since Sai was already an outcast, people immediately pointed the finger at him. So a huge, probably drunken mob got together to track him down. They found him fishing alone at a little lake, where they overtook him and strung him up from a tree. Nobody ever touched it again. It hung there until the whole thing decomposed. I guess I will add one thing. Dad moved away, married my mom, and for several years did not return home. When he finally did, he heard some of his nephews telling spooky stories, one of which was the story of Sai. They had added all of these spooky little details, but the story was the same. Only the story now goes that the days after being strung up, Sai's body went missing. There was only a rope hanging from the tree, and Sai now wanders the lakeside, drowning anyone descended from his murderers. Kind of a cool little local legend, if you ask me. I remember when I was a kid, I used to see this little thing follow my dad around, like a little person who would be behind my dad. I remembered it recently, and thought it was just a stupid childhood memory, but then I started recalling more and more memories of it. Be a very little kid, around 9 years old, watching TV in the living room on the couch. Hear Dad coming from his room. See him walk by in my peripheral vision, headed for the kitchen. Notice something smaller behind him and look. For a moment, see a little dark man following close behind him. Another time, playing video games in my room. TV is by the window. I'm zoned in on the game, but hear Dad messing around outside in the backyard garden. I die in the game. Pissed. Turn off the game and glance out the window. Dad is turning, walking out of view, around a corner of the house. See the same little dark man as before, following after him. He looked like an old man with dark brown skin, wearing clothes, but don't remember it, except it was also dark. Another time, playing DS in bed, hear Dad coming down the hall. put DS away really quickly under the blankets, pretend to be asleep, but keep eyes semi-open to watch Dad walk by. See the same little man following after him. He has to walk quickly to keep up with Dad. Never really felt shocked about seeing this weird little man, but then I remember that each and every single time being kind of surprised because I had forgotten him. It was like I only remembered him when I physically saw him following behind my dad. I remember seeing arms coming up through the floor in the old house I grew up in. They were totally black, like a silhouette with no shadow. I would see them coming up through the floor at night while I was in bed. I could see them moving around the room. That was when I was 5 years old. I remember barely anything about that when I was 5 years old, except seeing those arms. Later, when I was a teenager, I learned the history of the town I grew up in. It used to be bigger, but it burned down in the late 1800s. The house I grew up in was built in the late 1800s before the fire. Funny enough, it was rebuilt but burned down again in the 1950s, and it never really recovered from it. Just evolved into a typical opiate-addicted, white trash little town in the Midwest. Me and my sister went in the backwoods of our parents' property, and we found the remains of a house once. Overgrown by forest, the basement and foundation was still there. I still can't explain the hands coming up through the floor. I don't know if the souls of those who died in the fire are trapped in the town, or if the town was a gateway to hell and the black arms were demons' arms. Maybe the burnt down house in the woods behind the house I grew up in were connected.